Let's focus in then on the media sector as a whole and talk about the opportunities within the digital space, with now a lot of people resorting to their mobile tablets and phones in order to binge watch shows, as well as now what the future is for companies to survive within the media sphere, given the fact that there have been clamped down when it comes to the movie-going experience. Joining in to discuss this, we have none other than the soap opera queen, that's Ekta Kapoor. She's the joint managing director, Balaji Telefilms and MD at Alt Balaji, and Nachiket Pantvaidya, who's the group COO at Balaji Telefilms and CEO at Alt Balaji. Thank you so much, both of you, for taking time out and joining in. So much to chat about. But Ekta, let's just talk about this lockdown experience, because it has had its fair share of negatives for sure for your business, particularly for the movie business. But on the positive side, when it comes to growth, the digital penetration has been huge. What has been the impact or experience of lockdown for your company, and how have you dealt with it?
So as you already know, we have three sectors of business, three different departments. One is television, film, and digital. And it has had a totally different impact on each of them, So television is a cost-plus model. We make content and then we price it with a markup and sell it, which became, as production stopped, that business stopped. So it was a big roadblock. Television, digital became a huge growth factor, because what we thought would be a penetration or a growth trajectory in about 3 years, it's happened in probably 1 year. And we were wanting to grow in tier 2 and tier 3, but with the unavailability of television, we landed up doing that much faster. We didn't want to really cater to just the early adopters or the top part of society. So it's been great for the digital business, and for the movie business, surprisingly, because I have smaller films that we're going to release this year, it's been good too, because we've sold the films to companies, other apps, because movies is a different profit center. And I think most of these films will still get its revenue stream, because now it will be consumed directly on a platform.
So just as a follow-up to that, Ekta, talking about increasing internet users in tier 2, tier 3 towns, rural areas perhaps, is surprisingly high, compared to what we're seeing in urban centers as well. And that's also your core competence.
Yes.
How are you planning to differentiate from the, let's say, the other, mega OTTs like a Netflix or Hotstars of the world?
So I've always said this, I don't see, first of all, one, because of the huge consumer base that India has, 1.3 billion population. Two, because it's unbelievable that, everyone has the same taste. And today is a time of not one size fits all, but different tastes and different audiences. Thirdly, because of the pricing of the app. And fourthly, because of the basic brand recall and strong association with tier 2, tier 3. I think we're not in the same space at all, and there is very little overlap. In fact, we feed happily out of each other. Like, our films are going on Netflix and Amazon and getting great pricing, and we make different films too, which works for us in a beneficial way. And as a platform, we clearly are catering to a very, very different taste and a very different audience base as of now. Even eventually, when there will be an overlap, there will be retail viewing. I mean, people are going to be so individual taste specific that one app, like, say for example, an app wants to make, a person wants to watch action. He won't be, if he wants to consume about 20, 25 shows, every app would have probably, he would need to keep at least 4 apps or 5 apps to consume his type of programming. So TV, which was a one size fits all, had content for the whole family. While now, the viewing pattern has changed, which is giving birth to 5 different viewers in the same family, which means that suddenly you're now going to be catering to specifically one person, and that just increases the audience base also. So I don't think there's ever going to be an overlap, and I should not ever look at myself as a competition to Netflix and Amazon, because I clearly won't be able to match them in the financial muscle.
That you've articulated the context really clearly there, Ekta. Thanks for that. Nachiket, let me bring you in and also get your take, when it comes to the strategy for Alt Balaji, when it comes to profitability, subscriber additions, growth. What's the outlook?
It's been 3 years since we've been in operation, and we've grown at a tremendous pace every year. Every year, our revenues have doubled from 15 crore to 44 crore to now close to 80 crore, and we want to keep growing at this rate every year. Our revenues have grown not only through our partnerships, but our direct subscribers have also doubled every year. So if you extrapolate that, what this is all heading towards is that we are going towards a tipping point in the next 9 to 12 months when we'll see point one, a break-even quarter, which is unheard of in the Indian landscape for OTT, but we are going to get there in the next 9 to 12 months. And we are slowly going to become that super-size app which starts multiplying as our number of shows cross probably 80 to 90. Right now we're at 62 shows. As we hit 80 to 90, we are going to hit that large mass where it becomes easy for us to acquire consumers. So I feel that we are just going to zoom ahead in the next 9 to 12 months, given the fact that these large markets have been made suddenly available to us as an unfortunate side effect of the pandemic. It's one of the side effects, but we are now very well set to become a trailblazer in mass India in terms of being in the OTT space.
Okay, Nachiket, you sound very optimistic about the growth plans. But Ekta, I want to talk about, the movie-going business, because there were a number of releases as well lined up. And that part of the business has obviously been impacted on account of the lockdown. But you've said on record that you continue to remain very optimistic about the future of multiplexes, because once things settle down, the movie-going experience is not going to change. I just want to understand from you, you've been entrenched in this sector so long, what is the outlook really that you see for movie-going businesses? Do you think that there will be a complete shift in strategy to now releasing films on digital platforms at an earlier stage or even before, or that things will get back to normal?
So I look at it that there's a lot of opportunity that's opened up for movies. And I know people are going to look at this statement very skeptically, because it is. See, small films used to have this very small window, very few theaters opened up for them, and they had to compete with the same price point with big ticket movies. Automatically they were on a disadvantage, and they would always have to then their marketability depended on their theatrical business. With avenues like digital opening up, even small films can have a proper, fantastic release with a very short window in the theaters. It's something that now worldwide is being explored. As far as even your big ticket movies, your large movies go, they are meant for communal viewing. And it's not that as India knows, we like doing our communal outings for mostly movie going, for mostly watching movies. It's our biggest source of entertainment, cricket and movies. So automatically, once a vaccine is out and once we are in a far better position to handle COVID and this pandemic goes down, the need to go out and go out with family or with friends and get away from the setting you've been will be far more. And that's when celebration movies that help you with escapism, masala movies will have such a huge audience that it will be euphoric, I feel. So I really believe that, you have to if you start looking at everything from the current situation, then you have to remember we're now in the phase of isolation. We're going to go into deliberation and then go into celebration. And that's going to happen. And if you plan your movies right, and if they come at a time when there is less fear of going out, you will actually probably benefit. A lot of theaters in some parts of the world have opened up to full collections, and it's been seen worldwide. I know there's going to be a lot of skepticism for this, but this is what I believe.
No, fair enough. That's your view, of course. And perhaps one segment, if I may, that would be impacted within this would be some of those single screen players, because they are finding it difficult to survive even these past 4 months. But Nachiket, just to take off from what Ekta was talking about, she's very confident of things reviving. So for the company in particular, what is the plan for the movie production business, the plans to de-risk the movie production business, if you will?
Well, one of the things that we've been seeing year on year is that a large percentage of our revenue is coming through pre-sales of movie rights. And I think with digital wave in, this pre-sales is going to be 7% of the business that we direct. The other, of course, important factor is
I think you're breaking, Nachi.
able to aggregate audience pressure on, kind of the first 3 days. So because of this, I think, yeah, sorry. Am I audible?
Yeah, Nachiket, why don't you just go over that point again? I think we had you on a bit of a scratchy line. So if you could just repeat what you said at the start,
Okay.
plans to de-risk movie production business.
Okay. Well, the plan over the years, what we have seen, especially in the last 2 years, is that a larger percentage of our revenues are coming from pre-sales. Totally 60 to 70% of our revenues are already assured before we go to theaters. And therefore, the movie business that way is becoming a little less risky than what it was about 2 years ago. Having said that, I think we need to kind of also figure out what digital platforms need what kind of movies. Like Ekta said before, it's not a one-size-fits-all model, but we are definitely moving into a zone that is less riskier, and we can assure ourselves of profits as the film goes onto the floor.
Fair enough. Ekta, when do you see, you've already had some resumed shoots. There were some disruptions as well. Any status on, where we're at when it comes to production, the lineup, how you're going to roll things out?
So like I said, from isolation, we went in deliberation when we started our shoots. And we still haven't reached a point where we're completely, fully out of fear. But there's a lot of patterns and a lot of SOPs that have been put in place, even more than what the government ordered, to see, especially after that one incident that we had, to see that people are safe and are feeling safe on the set. Because you see, it's I was saying it last time, to be a head of a state or to be head of a business is today in the worst, to be in the worst place possible, because you're making a decision between small damage and big damage, not damage and no damage. So it's a tough point where you actually go on the set and you know that there could be someone falling ill, but you have people who are constantly needing to go back to work because they are financially stressed. And you're hearing of cases of people who are now mentally not being able to take it. So you have to work out your job. And as we went back to the set, we took this call that we will do everything for our safety, even if the footage is less. But our teams have been so good. The footage has been outstanding. People have sat at home and done their short divisions, come on the set and seen to it that only during the shot the masks are removed. Everyone's in PP suits. People are seeing that there's a lot of social distancing maintained. Actors are being professional. I think there's been a great understanding of how to ride over the wave instead of going under it. So I've seen some really nice and really balanced decisions taken on the set, which have been safety precautions and great decisions for optimal production.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, we're all getting accustomed to this new normal, and it's nice to see how your team has adapted. We too, who'd have thought that we'd be broadcasting, all of us remotely located in our homes, etc. But things are surely changing. Now, Nachiket, I wanted to come to you. Is the company looking at evaluating options or inducting, strategic financial investors to add value to the business? Are talks underway? What stage is this plan at, if you could confirm or deny?
Well, we are always looking to, people keep asking us about the investment options. I feel that We are evaluating each of these queries that come to us on a case-by-case basis. We have appointed IDFC, as you know, to guide us through this process. But I feel this will be about a 12-month long process. It's not something that's going to happen immediately. Right now, the company has got a lot of cash. It's got about 250 crores cash, which fulfills its requirements for about a year. But in terms of actionability, I think the next 6 months to 12 months is when we are looking to see how we need to expand, how we need to create a larger content pipeline, a larger consumer tech focus in our digital business, a larger pipeline of movies to exploit the opportunities that have suddenly come our way and ride on this tiger of growth that we are on.
All right. Ekta, given what you both are saying in terms of the overall context, the way the mix is shaping up between movies, digital, each one having its place, but as a company having to really explore all angles here, how do you really see things shaping up for the industry, let's say, in the next few years? What's your outlook?
I feel finally there'll be, you see, with the distribution chains being so wide and so there's no one medium of exploitation of content. All kinds of content will get a platform, a voice, and definitely a viewer, which will help us to monetize that, and it'll be a big boom for this content industry, because you can have films made for digital straight, you can have films made for theater, you can have content made for the masses on OTT platforms, you can have content made for television, which is slightly more conservative. So there's content opportunity opening up on different sections, and because there's going to be different tastes coming into play, and people able to see, we never had a second TV home, we never went into subscription TV in India. We missed that technological beat, and because of which now we're going straight to digital. Now 5 family members don't have to watch what each other have to want to watch, which means we have to cater to 5 different individuals in a 1.3 billion population. You can just imagine the demand, and now you can see the level of supply that's required. Some content for individual viewing, some for communal viewing, some for family viewing.
Nachiket, if we just look purely at the financials, in terms of subscriber additions for Alt Balaji, where do you see that end of the year, and how are you looking at each of your business segments shaping up?
Last year, we totally had a 3 to 3.5 million paying subs base. We are looking at an improvement in ARPU from 130 level to about 150 level this year. And we are, depends on how the next few months go, but we are optimistic about continuing this 60 to 70% growth in our direct subscribers at a minimum, if not doubling, in the financial years to come. Of course, this is provided that there is no second outbreak and, God forbid something else happens. But if that doesn't happen, then we are looking at a very, very healthy, very, very generous growth rate of direct subscriber addition in line with our pace. Our pace so far has been doubling, 100% growth every year. But I think even if it plateaus a bit because we didn't have that much content in the first 3 months, it will still come to a 60, 70% growth.
Ekta, some of what you've described is perhaps also what puts your company in a good position to take advantage of some of the changes taking place in media, given that you are across different platforms and have the ability to create, as you said, all kinds of content. Leave us with a note on really where you see the secret sauce or ingredient for Balaji in all of this. You have, of course, seen many successes and also been one to adapt very quickly to the changing face of media and content. So just leave us with something today from your journey.
So I think we are people feel it's almost schizophrenic, and we've been criticized, although I don't want to ever put a slant on mental health, but this is the words used when people talk about alt and Balaji. But actually, we think we're inclusive. We're as a company understanding the need of various audiences, and we cater to various audiences. And in every audience lies an opportunity. Some look at art as escapism, some look at art as reality. So we've understood adaptability for a company, mentoring new talent for a company, and creating great team efforts for a company is almost as important as creating content. And that's what I want to leave this chat with, is that we're hoping to now go into tier 2, tier 3, especially tier 2, tier 3 first choice entertainment app that caters to various tastes. We want to create a film company which is going to provide communal viewing in the theaters and individual viewing on the OTT platform. And on television, we want to come to your homes with conservative yet very, very interesting, fresh thought ideas, and probably make content for various platforms and be an inclusive content production house which is non-misogynist in nature.
Leave it at that, and all the very best on those endeavors. Hope to interact with you more often on ET Now. Nachiket as well as Ekta, thanks much for giving us a 360-degree view of the media sector and plans for Balaji.